Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome again. I'm the newcomer, I think, in this show. I've not been involved nearly as long as most of you have, either as a participant or even as an audience. So I consider myself the new guy on the block today, and to that extent, I want to spend a little time introducing you to me and my family, and a little bit of investment ideas from investment counseling background, and a major part of the program of the Constitution, tradition of the Founding Fathers. So that's the order we'll take that in. I started my work with the idea that I'd be able to help people in every one of these areas. When I heard Cleon Skousen speak in a little tiny schoolhouse down in Torrance, California, I had been dragged there by a woman named Ruleen Allen, who got me to come, finally. She tried for 3 years and I couldn't do it. Finally, I came down to this little schoolhouse, and I took a back seat. The chairs were very small, and the speaker was Cleon Skousen. And he got up and he started to talk, and I was sitting in one of the back seats, but I heard him. As I heard him, I was captured by the stories that he had to tell with every single concept that he laid out for his audience. He had stories for every one of them. And it made it an exciting talk and made him come alive in the whole Constitution for the first time in my life. Came alive to me. I've not been involved politically. I've not been involved in any election.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And tell them thank you and get to know him a little better. So I called him up on the phone about 3 days later, and I said, Cleon, I missed seeing you after that program you gave down in Torrance, California, but I'd love to, if there was any way I could get you
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
I'd like to take you out to lunch and really get to know you. And he took a little while, and then he called back and said, well, I will be there next week. I said, great, what day? He said, gave me the day, and I said, well, we'll go out to Doughty Beach Conference, I'll take you out to lunch, and I want to talk to you about what you're doing in the Constitution teaching business. And Cleon came, and we talked. At the end of our talk, I said, Cleon, I'm going to help you. It won't cost you anything. I think you deserve bigger audiences, and you deserve to have a little better locations. I'm going to help you in both those areas. And he thought about it, and he said, after he thought about it, well, he said, go to it, Bill. I'm with you. And so I found 6 locations around Los Angeles, 6 areas of Los Angeles, big city. So there are certain plenty of areas. And I found teachers to teach constitutional courses in all 6 areas. And it was a success. The people were ready to hear the constitutional story at that point. They hadn't heard it. It was new to them, and they heard the story. It went so well, I said, at the end of that course, it went 6 weeks. I said at the end of the 6-week course, let's do another one. And the teachers all said yes. And so we started a second course right on top of the first one. At the end of 6 weeks, we started a third one. By the end of the third one, we had a following. 6 courses, three times in those 6 courses, and we had quite a lot of people. And so I thought it was time to have a dinner party for everybody that was part of our constitutional work. And the Disneyland Hotel was what we chose. And we went to the Disneyland Hotel, and we got Ezra Taft Benson to come down as our speaker for the night. And I picked him up at the airport, enjoyed that thoroughly, had some time with him in the car, and then he was our keynote speaker, and it was an hour. And when he got finished, we took him back to the plane, and we were established as a teaching mecca for the Constitution work. That combination of those 3 courses in 6 places, topped off by Ezra Taft Benson giving a talk, was all it took. And we were in. So I decided I was going to make a lifetime change, and I was going to gradually quit the counseling business and devote myself to Dr. Skousen and the work he was doing. So that's what I did. I went onto the board, the national board of the Freeman Institute. I got to meet some of the finest men I've ever met. They all were absolutely fabulous constitutionalists. Bruce Smith, I can mention all their names. They're all men who, if you don't know them, you would love to hear about them. In any event, we decided the first thing we would do is put on a course for young people. And I bought a motel up in Duck Creek, Utah. It would be the place I would use for these little youthful conferences. I got talked into that. I didn't really want to do it. They wanted me to bring Skousen down from Salt Lake for just these little kids. And they also wanted me to bring Don Sills in from Washington, D.C. That was really going to cost me something. I didn't want to do that either. And finally, we decided we'd bring Clem Skousen down. Clem Kimber, his son-in-law, would also be there. We'd bring Don Sills from the East, and I'd be the fourth speaker. And we'd put on a program for teenagers. Never been done before. We didn't change it in any way. It's the same program we taught to the adults. At the end of it, we had what we called sharing time. And sharing time, that time was different. Hard for me to talk about some of this. This was the time when Tiananmen Square was unfolding in China. This was the time when the wall was coming down in Berlin. So there was a freedom movement worldwide. In America, we were the heart of it. I had made an offer for 1 year to purchase 16,000 acres for a constitutional community down there. In any event, we had our sharing time at the end of that meeting. They came forward in a way I've never seen before or since. They've come 5 at a time. They couldn't handle it going alone. They come up 5 at a time, and they hear testimonies of the Constitution, the tradition of the Founding Fathers. At the end of that time, Liam was walking with me out, and he said, I don't know what happened, Bill. He said, had we greatest outpouring of the Holy Spirit since the day of Pentecost. And I think it probably was. It was something we've never seen before or or since, it still is hard for me to talk about that subject. We're ready for freedom across the world. Tiananmen Square was a manifestation of desire for freedom in China. And the tearing down the Berlin Wall was a symbol of desire for freedom in Europe. And in America, we have the smallest of the three. But we were expressing ourselves just as loudly as they were. We wanted freedom, and we wanted it now. Well, that was a high point. And it was a high point in the whole constitutional work. We were ready to go out the next day and sign up on that 16,000 acres. Imagine how much land that is. It's a lot of land. We were going to build up small homes all over that land. It was winter, and the snows were heavy that winter, and we had a big snowfall in the middle of it. And in the big snowfall, we had the snow collecting on the underside of all these buildings. We had, by this time, had built the Skousen Center, the three-story big building. That was our center for Clan Skousen. With his name on it, it was his center. And we had 3 stories. We were really going for it. And the sheet of ice came down off that roof and sliced through every one of our pipes, our gasoline pipe, or gas pipe rather, that led into the building, and sliced them all in half. The gas trickled into the building, and then it ignited. And when it ignited, it exploded. The explosion lifted the floor about 4 feet and settled back down. And we were through for a while. Didn't expect to know what was going to happen. But we were through, and we had to cut our. I think we made a mistake. I think we should have gutted it out and not pulled back, but we pulled back. And I went into a slow paying off everybody. We had all kinds of things going on. A lot of people needed money. Fortunately, we had bought some of this land already. We had 400 acres we'd already purchased. And we could sell that. We could use that money to pay off the debt we had on the land we had the conferences in. So we did that. That was the way that story ended. I never thought it was ending, though. I thought it was only a stopping point. We'd pick it up again someday. In a long time from that day to this. And this is where we're trying to pick it up again. I'm an older man now. I don't speak as well. I've got a few things going that make it difficult. But we decided, my wife and I, that we would do it again. An attempt to do it if it worked. We would try it out with everything we could. We'd had our land up where all this took place in the mountains for sale. We hadn't had any bids. I thought, well, I don't think it's meant to sell to one single buyer, $440,000 for the land. I think it's meant to go to individuals who want to have just a place that they can come to, not just to get away from the big cities, but a place they can come to get a recharge. This had to have a spiritual connection to it. We then thought the idea of tent cities, and we liked that idea. It was novel, it was new, and I don't know whether we can pull it off, but if we can, it was a big idea. Because you could get an awful lot of tents on just the land we have now. You could get 60 tents easily on that land. And that would be a place to make a statement. Can you imagine the first tent city in America on 60 acres up in some of the most beautiful areas that you could ever imagine? And I think that's our dream now, to see if we can make that work. Well, that is enough of introducing the whole concept to you. I want now to shift gears and introduce me and my family to you. I've passed out some pictures. Everybody got some pictures there of the Doughty family? That's our plan. And that was taken 46 years ago. So it's not quite the same group today as it was then. It was a pretty young clan at that point. And they're a lot older and a lot wiser today than they were then. But that was our plan. That was our start. In time, as I go into this, I have to introduce you one more part of this story. You don't know her. Her name is Henrietta Mears. Has anyone ever heard that name before? I don't think so. Henrietta Mears interesting people that nobody would know about. She was a Sunday school teacher in Hollywood, California, and she taught the college class, but she was over the whole Sunday school department. But she taught the college class. And she came from the Midwest, and she had one eye. She poked a hole, and her other eye didn't work very well. So that's Henrietta Mears. And underneath it says, and how she did it. Well, what did she do? It was so unusual. First thing, she didn't like the curriculum that the Presbyterian Church was using, and she decided she would redesign it and make it more up to date, more centered around Jesus Christ, and she did all of that. It sold like hotcakes. It finally got to the point, though, that she was having to sell this to more than just her church. She sold it to all the Presbyterian churches of California. And then that wasn't enough either. Other churches in different denominations said they wanted it too. And within 3 years, the Gospel Light Press was the largest printing operation that was selling spiritual tracts of any company in the country. Well, that's pretty good for starters. She was not stopping at that point. She said, I'd like to have a place to take the kids in summertime. And she found a hotel outside of San Bernardino that would house them. And she bought it. And she would have summertime events there for her 6,000 kids that she was teaching during the whole school year. She would have a place to take them for the summer event. And she would make it lively, and she would change the venue at the very last minute every time to keep people off, keep them guessing a little bit, or keep them worried on it, or somehow make it more exciting for the people who were attending. And so they were very successful. And when she had finished 2 years of that, she said, one final thing I would like to do is I'd like to get, I found a preacher, I'd like to get a chance to have him come out to our people in California, our kids, and I want to fill Hollywood Bowl. You 6,000 kids fill Hollywood Bowl so it can be a big event. And the kids were pretty sharp kids. They were pretty grounded spiritually, And they said yes, they thought they could do it. And they did it. And on the night of performance, a man came in named Mickey Cohen. And Mickey Cohen was a criminal. He was the head of the mafia. I don't know where he's located, but he was there that night. And when he came in, he was known by people, and the flash bulb began to pop. And the next morning, the headlines of the photos in all the papers showed Mickey Cohen walking forward on an altar call at Hollywood Bowl, California. It made big news. And so, in many years, it started Billy Graham. And he never went back to tents. After that, he went on to Coliseum. That was it. But he had Coliseums everywhere. And so now we've got something going that he accidentally fell into. She did, rather. And by the launching of Billy Graham into all these Coliseums around the country, together with the new curriculum, together with the new summer program, she had become, in my judgment, probably one of the strongest forces in Christianity in America at that time. And that takes me to a chart I want you to look at now. It's the chart I have on the 7 dispensations. Can you find that chart? You all have a copy of it. It's the last page, the very end of the book. You have it right here on the screen. Now, I want to talk to you about that chart. You see the third dispensation. The third dispensation is called the dispensation of mystery. And what does that mean? What is a mystery, a dispensation of mystery? What is that all about? I didn't know. It took a man to make this chart with my grandfather, so I spent about 3 months a year with him. But I didn't spend that much time with him, with his wife, my grandmother, but not with Dr. Spur. And he had been a teacher at the Cobra Bible class in that area. And he had come up with this word, dispensation of mystery. Now, we looked at that word and tried to figure out what that meant. The idea that something could be created out of nothing seemed illogical to me. I couldn't imagine it happening. How can you start something from nothing and have it become big? It seemed impossible. What had happened was that churches that were denominational oriented, and by being denominationally oriented, were weak and maybe even false within that environment, taking the church to a simple statement of a belief in Jesus Christ, giving your life to Christ and inviting him into your arena with you, that could have been true. It wouldn't have been anybody too many kind of a celestial kingdom, but it could have been true. It could have been a valid church. And that's what Henrietta Mears had discovered. She had discovered that by taking the denominationalism out of the church, by putting it simply as a place where people could get together who believed in Jesus Christ, as simple as that, it made it a true terrestrial church. And that made her, in my mind, a great lady, who had been the one that created that whole dispensation. It was quite a large dispensation. It would be measured not only by the number of people that were part of it, but by all the good that was done in manufacturing, in economics, in social stability and avoiding things like we've got today. But we don't have that going on today. In any event, she had a hand in that. I had a hand in that because I was at the time down in my area, which is the southern part of the South Bay area of Los Angeles. I had taken on a teaching assignment, teaching her course to all the people that went to a church called the Rolling Hills Covenant Church, which I was in. After teaching for 2 years, they asked me if I would be the head of the church, and as I said yes, the pastor left. And I was left as a layman leading a church in Rolling Hills, California. And the amazing thing is that the church grew during that period from 200 people to 1,000 people, and that was an indication that in that particular dynamic, you didn't have to have a pastor even. It could run by itself. You see, it was just people getting together in the name of Jesus Christ. And that could be done. And so I used that story today to indicate what I feel is the denomination that is now ending. I want you to see what it looked like, though, before we talk about the fact that it's all over. It's through. It ended. Now, how do we know it ended? Because there are people that have been studying these things and have seen that at some point there would be something that got the better of us relative to the dispensational mystery, and it was called the tribulation. Tribulation would overcome the getting together of the dispensational mystery. And so, now what is the tribulation? Because I want to really talk to you about this. Tribulation had four, according to that man, had four keys to it. One, distress of nations. Now, there's no question that our world is now seeing distress of nations like we've never seen before, right? We're starting to see ISIS creating distress everywhere they go. We see Baltimore and other cities that are getting polarized. So yes, we can see polarization and a breakdown occurring rapidly enough that we can say, yes, we are on the border edge of distress of nations. Keep going, we'll be there. Now, what else did that forecast would happen when the dispensation of mystery ends? The other thing that would happen would be the Antichrist would be revealed. What does that mean? Well, the Protestants would tell us that means that there would be somebody who would be in charge of a numbering system where all the people on the planet would be numbered, and then everyone would have to pledge allegiance to the government, or they could not buy or sell or own or be involved in any way, shape, or form with what's happening in the country. It would be a freeze on anybody unless they lived totally off grid. They couldn't involve themselves living in that without pledging allegiance to the government. Sounds like it's close to happening. May not be this year or next year, but yes, it's getting a lot closer. The technology that allows the numbering system in every country in the world is getting a lot closer. These things are happening faster all the time. Prophecy says that the number 666 will be the number of the Antichrist when it finally comes together. I've been studying it. Right now, I put my money on the thought that it will come out of the central banks of the world. There are central banks now in every country in the world. central banks have control of the monetary system of that country. The man who had the control of the central bank in Canada was named Mark Corey. Mark Corey. And last year, he was released from that assignment and took on the Bank of Canada, of Great Britain. And now he's in Canada, and now he's the first of the central bank leaders that has had two nations under his control, one right after the other. The first one was Canada, the second one was Britain. He did a wonderful job for the New World Order people, who I call wonderful, by giving them all the rights to the oil of Canada. And he was a hero for the Canadians, for the money they got out of it, and for the people who got the oil. He was a hero for all of them. So he looks like he could be an Antichrist. Maybe not, doesn't have to be him. But we're headed toward a time when we will have to become part of an order that requires our signature on our willingness to be part of an Islam we don't want to be part of. And if we don't want it, we'll have to go completely off the grid. So that's where we stand. Now the next man who's in the same prophecy is the false prophet. This is not very special, not very new. There's many sources that will tell you the same thing. The Antichrist and the false prophet. And they would work off each other. They would endorse each other, and they would counter for each other, and they would become better because there were two of them doing big things, and there's just one. So the false prophet and the Antichrist were two thorns in the side of freedom that we hadn't had before. This is why I was so hopeful that we could have made that freedom march we're all part of, way back from Tim Square, had all the Chinese people ready to give up everything for freedom. And same now in Europe with what tearing down the wall, Berlin Wall meant, and what we were trying to do in California, Utah. But didn't happen. And now we've now got the opposite group moving fast. And the Antichrist and the false prophet, I don't know how they'll work. The false prophet, from all that we can see as we study that figure, it's the Catholic Church. We can see that regard to any of you who may be Catholic, because this is a different Catholic Church maybe than or it's a remade Catholic Church, but it certainly is not a very spiritual group. Now, if this comes to pass, I would look for the sale of indulgences to fall very quickly. You know what the sale of indulgences was in the old days. It was a way you could sell, you could buy your favor with the Pope, who was the man that had credentials because he placed himself back all the way to Peter. And that was what our popes have always done and will do in the future, is trace their credentials back to Peter. So in any event, I think we're there. I think we're on the very front edge of the tribulation right now. Wow, time goes fast. I didn't know I was doing so fast. I guess I'm talking fast as fast as I can go. Okay, we'll finish in 5 minutes. Right now, I want to introduce you to my family. We're a unique family, and that's the last I'll have time to do today. I want you to get to know them a little bit. So, you all have that chart? Well, I want the chart of all the kids. 45 years ago, all those little kids, no, not those. This clan, there's ours. That's my clan. That's all my kids. And after we had made that chart, made that picture, within the next year, we left the Indian Beers world. We tried to bring along with us, but we had found that the church for us was the LDS church. And so we made that shift. And I'm not here to espouse church doctrine. I'm only mentioning that because it's part of our story. Now, this is them. Before I got married, they were a lot older. They're a lot older than that now. And they're doing good things. We've got in church work, in our church, they've got something called stake presidency. We've got three of our boys in stake presidencies. We've got one of our couples is running mission, top mission in the country right now, in Ecuador. Her husband is the mission president for Ecuador. And they're doing tremendous things in Ecuador. And it goes on and on. We've got, now among our young people, we've got young kids. A young girl is on this last picture. She's having another one this August, which will be her 9th. And we've got the one that just goes up front. The other picture. Well, I'm almost through. We won't bother about that last picture. This church has I'm in. Any church that you can be committed to, this Jesus Christ Church, is good. And we now have, I'm sorry I can't tell you some final stories that I would love to be able to tell you about the expansion of the Godhead. Oh, there's some one big things happening. Big, big, big things. We'll have to save it for another day. Amen. I've enjoyed being with you today. It's been a nice day. I've enjoyed it very thoroughly. I hope I've been giving you something of some value. And I leave you all these thoughts in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.